Hello. Perfect timing because I get to continue with the whole microbiology lab coat trend. I was going to say my name, but you know it now. So, question. How many people here have kids or pets? Or at least know the challenges of dealing with children or pets, or even if you babysat.
Plants.
Right? Great, because I didn't prepare anything else. So I'd like to connect how parenting is pretty much like quite similar to how a lab technician works, especially with cell or microbiology. So no job or career is ever easy, am I right? Parents, they sometimes have to rely on a parent handbook, you know, when kids get frustrated. For microbiologists, they have to rely on the Bergey's manual. So the Bergey's manual is a manual that helps identify the species of the bacteria you might have in your test tube when you can't identify them. So really the link is you want to like get to know yourselves, or pretty much like getting to know your children. So for example, in one of my projects I had to do a glucose sugar test. So that means I had to determine what kind of food my bacteria likes to eat. In parenting land, it's like using the parent handbook to like determine what kind of food your child likes to eat for the first time. And you know, things don't always work out, so you kind of have to try and troubleshoot it in the end. So cell and microbiology is pretty much all about learning about your cell type and the cell type behavior, and just figuring out what to do otherwise if things just don't go as planned. But sometimes a parenting handbook, I don't think it's an absolute rule. I think it's meant to be used as a guide. When I was trying to determine the identity for my bacteria for my project, the final step, the color had to be pink and I was done. But the color was otherwise. So that means I had to like backtrack and look at all my results like carefully to see which did not make sense with all the other previous tests. What I had to do was troubleshoot and just determine my next move. So sometimes it's really all about just deciding based on what you know. Parenting can be like that as well. This parent handbook that my mom kept has an anecdote about children just slowly figuring out how to become less attached to their childhood like toys. So one anecdote says this lady took her son's blankie and just like split it in half each time until he was 10. And after reading that, I would be terrified. If my mother did that to me, I would probably throw a tantrum. So I mean, it's not always the hard rule. So in order to get to know your cells or get to know your child, it's like you gotta spend a lot of time with them. Your schedule is revolved around your cells, just like how it would be revolved around your child's needs. Any experiments you do with your cells really depends how your cells are growing and when they're growing. So you provide them with nutrients or just making sure their environment is ideal. Their schedule is your schedule. There's no such thing as having a day off with your cells when your cells are around. It's the same thing for having a child, as having a child. Cell technicians have to go to lab on weekends even. So that's like how I feel sometimes. Every weekend I get concerned if my cells have enough food and if they're doing all right. When I get back to the lab on Monday morning, I'm like, are they alive? Are they dead? You know, how's their living space? It's like, you know, when you leave for vacation, you drop your kids off at the sitter. You make sure that they're well taken care of, have enough food, and fed at the right time. It's the same thing with cell maintenance. So happy and healthy, yes, but there can be dangers on both ends. You both want to be safe. So, in the perspectives of cell culture and microbiology, a main technique known in both fields is called aseptic technique. It's pretty much just a procedure to keep things free of contaminants from other organisms. So you pretty much just want to wipe your area clean with ethanol and make sure all your instruments are completely sterilized, and also your technique procedures as well. And a dangerous thing that I've learned, I hope parenting isn't as dangerous, but micropipetting. Mouth pipetting when I say micro. So mouth pipetting, just imagine a straw, and you need to suck up the liquid in order to transfer it to another tube. Can you imagine if you had to do that with bacteria cells? There is actually a chance that can get in your mouth. So it existed in the 70s and the 80s, and I really hope I never have to do it in my entire career. So pretty much there's no perfect way to parent. You know, there's only like enough handbooks and just experiencing it yourself. You just gotta really care about yourselves like how you would care about your children. Because you want them to be happy and healthy, right? Just like yourselves. So it's pretty much just tender, loving care, you know, whether it's mammalian cells or bacteria cells, just like how you would love your child or even your pet. The process is not easy, but even for me, I feel like it's a worthwhile experience. Thank you.